Welcome to episode 566 of Salsidoparanormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight we are continuing our review of the Book of Ceremonial Magic by Arthur Edward Waite. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from y'all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for listening, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds or on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of the show, 2 episodes every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Troubled Minds Radio comes on. And as always, I want to thank Michael Strange, host of Troubled Minds Radio, for having me on the network and putting all my shows up there. This is our continuing review of the of that Book of Ceremonial Magic. I was just talking in the chat before I started recording here. I had to redesign the prompt that I use with the AI that I use to summarize things, so that it won't be giving specific instructions on how to summon entities, because I'd rather not have that going out live on my show or even on recordings of my show. So special thanks to Michael Strange and also Derek, the Night Stalker, STOCKER, for helping me kind of figure out how to approach that, because I did some summarizing before, and it was, even though it was a summary, it was actual instructions. And I was like, wait, hold on, no, we're not doing that, not happening. So anyway, so I literally just got all this stuff that I had already summarized. I deleted all that and redid the summarizations of all of that. So we'll see how it goes. So we're still in part 1 of the book. We're on chapter 3, composite rituals, and section 1, the key of Solomon the King. So the summary here, and again, this is all generated by AI, by Claude. Claude 3 Opus, I believe, is the exact model. And and I think I totally forgot the whole section of the introduction. Let me go back and do that before we start this, because I think it's important. I was thinking, I'm way ahead of schedule here. If you'd like to support the show, there we go. That's what I missed. There are some different ways to do that. Professional podcaster here. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platforms. You can also find books I've written over on Amazon, paranormal fiction and nonfiction. I guess talking about the whole magic thing kind of got me a little bit nervous, so skip that part of the intro. You can also sign up on Patreon for 1 extra episode of the show per month, or you can just make one-time donations through PayPal. And again, support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to, I'm going to start saying now, software, to research materials, to travel expenses in some cases. So now that we got that part out of the way, we can get to the actual material here. Well, the summary of the actual material here. So anyway, on chapter 3 of part 1, and that is composite rituals, and the first one, like I said, is the key of Solomon the King. So here we go with the summary. It says, the key of Solomon is the most important text in a class of, in quotation marks here, composite magical rituals that mix elements of black and white magic. It is often paired with the lesser key, which is in parentheses, they have here the Megaton. Lemegeton. Says other composite texts include the fourth book of Cornelius Agrippa and the magical elements of Peter of Abano, A-B-A-N-O. The Key of Solomon exists in Latin, French, Italian, and German manuscripts, with the oldest known Latin version from the 16th century. It may have originally been written in Hebrew. It was likely written or translated in the 14th to 15th century, based on the state of the Hebrew used in conjurations and talismans. That's the amazing thing about language, is how it changes. That's just me there talking about that. But and how you can sort of tell these things by noticing the state of the language. It says its attribution to King Solomon. That's something. Here's something I didn't know. Its attribution to King Solomon is fictitious, meant to lend authority, as is common in this genre of literature. The English translation by S. L. MacGregor Mathers, published in 1889, removed some of the black magic elements, but retained references to this is wonderful. Bloody sacrifices and evil purposes. The text contains many frivolous, hyperbolical, and foolish experiments, like detection of stolen goods, invisibility, preventing hunters from killing game, and other things as well. Its highest ambition is to gain mastery over a treasure possessed by spirits. Many experiments aim to interfere with free will of others. Overall, the text is judged to be a grotesque combination of the pompous and ridiculous, and apparently that's according to the author there, with grandiose conjurations and divine names invoked for petty ends. I never heard that I'd always heard, for the last few years now, I'd heard of the whole lesser and greater keys of Solomon, but I never heard that that it was supposedly not even written by that person. So that seems to be a theme that's popping up in a lot of this, is that these titles or these materials, sometimes they're not even written by the people that they were supposedly written by. And so that is odd. And yet there's still so much of it, and so many people to this day, from what I've heard and seen online, they still find these things interesting and maybe even use them still. So then the question is, who writes these things? And how is it that even when they're supposedly not written by the people that supposedly wrote them, how is it that you hear so many reports of things actually working? How much of it is, in other words, the individual doing all these things, their own energy, and how much of it is outside of that, I think is a good question. And I love the comments in the chat already here from Ricky. Please don't summon anything, LOL. Yeah. And then Mike, I told you guys, here we go. Yeah. So I will leave the rest of that comment from Mike there. But yeah. So going on to the next section here. Section 2, the Lesser Key of Solomon. The Megaton, or Lesser Key of Solomon, is a text of more exalted pretensions than the Key of Solomon, claiming to control and evoke vast numbers of spirits. Its earliest known complete version is in French from the 17th century. though it was referred to by earlier demonologists like Wierus as Uber Spiritum. This is a different word. Spirit, but then it has UUM. It says it is divided into 4 parts. Part 1 is Goetia, evocation of evil spirits with forms of conjuration for 72 chief devils and their minions. Theurgia Goetia, spirits of the cardinal points, a mix of good and evil. That's part 2. Part 3 is the Pauline art, angels of the hours of day and night, and zodiacal signs. And then part 4, Almadel, 4 other choirs of spirits. The text focuses extensively on the powers of infernal spirits, but says little about benefits of contact with higher intelligences, implying an emphasis on, of course, demonic evocation. The first goetic part may be the original core text with other sections added later. It has been highly influential on later infernal ceremonial magic texts. It is sometimes attributed to King Solomon, other times to a rabbi of the same name, I guess of Solomon. It should be distinguished from the separate key of Rabbi Solomon, focused on planetary talismans. So there you have 2 similar texts, or 2 different texts that only have one different word in the title. The text claims to only deal with good genies, but, in quotation marks there, but includes blood sacrifices. It forbids using seals or pentacles to harm others, especially students of the art. So that's the end of that section there. So yeah, sort of this mix of good and bad again. We're getting, let's see here. Looking at the chat here, and looking at this. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next section here. Section 3, the Pauline art. The Pauline art focuses on invoking the angels of day and night, the angels of the 12 signs, and the angels of men, angels of the zodiacal degrees. It provides limited information on the offices and qualities of these angels, except that the angels of man can only be called on for purposes aligning with God's laws and the good of mankind. The text consists largely of name catalogs of the angelic rulers and officers presiding over the different hours of day and night. That's a fascinating idea there, that there are different entities in charge of different time periods of the day. I wonder how that would work, though, and I imagine time zones are a modern thing, but I'm just wondering here with that, that's an amazing idea that there are different entities in charge of sort of different parts of the day throughout the day and the night. So, but going on with the rest of this here. Let me see here. So it says I read that. Okay. For each of the 12 hours of the day and 12 hours of the night, it lists the name of the supreme ruler of that hour, along with their chief and lesser officers. It also lists the angels associated with the 12 zodiacal signs, according to the elementary triplicities, that's quite the word, of fire, air, water, and earth. The archangels, I give some names here, are allocated supreme presidency over these triplicities. 360 angels, or genii, are said to govern the zodiacal degrees, but the text suggests the archangels presiding over them cannot be invoked directly. Successful invocation is said to depend on constructing proper seals, using the right perfumes, utilizing crystals, and employing the correct invocations, examples of which are provided. And of course, that is true of the source material, but we're not going to get into that here. The text claims that by properly utilizing this system and knowing the minute of one's birth, one can attain mastery of all arts, sciences, and wisdom. That's quite a lot of power. This system is compared to the Enochian magic of John Dee and Edward Kelly. That is a whole other topic if you want to look up that. Those names here: Enochian magic, John Dee, Edward Kelly. I don't know if the book will get into it later on. Probably will. But anyway, that's just an amazing idea that there's these different entities in charge of almost like time and space, different parts and sections of possibly time and space there. That's an amazing idea in and of itself. So I don't know where else to go with that, but that just makes me think if that's in the chat here, Mike just posted a picture of the main big villain from Ghostbusters 2. And definitely for anyone that hasn't seen the first two Ghostbusters, I highly recommend them. Yes, Vigo, the master of evil, Vigor, the Carpathian. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, going back to this material here, let's see if I can get through one more section here. See how big it is, and go from there. All right, I think we can do this. Section 4, the Almadel. The Almadel is a magical system based on talismans made of white wax and inscribed with specific figures. Different colored wax is used for choirs associated with the four quarters. White for east, and red for south, green for west, and black for north. 4 Almadels are required to work with the full hierarchy, along with candles made from the same wax. A gold or silver seal engraved with the divine names is also used. The names of the angelic intelligences presiding over the 4 attitudes are provided, but their offices are not fully specified. When invoked, these angels appear in specific forms. Examples given as a child or a small person wearing certain colors and crowned with flowers. They leave behind a sweet perfume. Invocation takes place on a Sunday in the day and hour of the sun, with the candles placed in the almadel and incense used to prompt the angel to speak. The operator wears vestments matching the almadel's color. A preliminary prayer is said, asking the angel to appear and grant the operator's requests, if pleasing to God. The request must be lawful, possible, and becoming to the angel's office. Certain angels can only be invoked on specific Sundays, based on a planetary schedule. Example given: the first two angels of the first altitude can only be called on the first and second Sundays of March. Despite the text claiming only worthy aims, the author expresses skepticism about the intention of the Amidel system due to the dubious material in which it appears. So let's see here. That's that one. And that's the thing you always have to think about too. And I think that's a main thing whenever it comes to any kind of entities. How do we know who or what they are and what their intentions are? I think that, as I've said this before, I think that when you have experiences, it is good to go with sort of how you feel or what kind of feeling you get from entities. But just always keep in mind that there could be deception going on. And just as what you do with people in life, just do the best you can in that situation. And that's all I can really say on that. But it's amazing how that comes up in this material here. So I think that's where we'll leave it. I don't think I have time to read another section here. But the next section here talks about let's see here. There's two sections. Let me see. Wait, I think I read that one. Section 6 is what I'm on. Yeah. So the next section is the Heptameron. And then section 7 is the sacred magic of Abramelin, the mage. And then after that, it goes on to the next chapter. So, excuse me. So that's the plan for the next couple episodes here, or next episode here of this series. And please let me know whenever you can what you all think of this series, if it's interesting to you. Happy to hear that. Also, please check out all the links in every episode description, including those that go to the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Please check out the station, and because there's material going on all day, every day. That last section was very cool, Jeff says in chat. Thank you. So please check out the station, and then also in all my episode descriptions, you can find links to any of my guests that I've had on that have their own projects. You can find links to all those, all their things as well in the episodes. So please check those out whenever you listen to any previous episodes. We're getting closer to 600 episodes. It's really it's hard to, I don't know, that just blows my mind thinking about that. But yeah, so that's the plan for the future here. We'll do that next time with that. The next True Paranormal Stories from the Web episode will be on gas stations. So that'll be coming up in a few episodes here. And, of course, the next couple episodes will be haunted places in the U.S. We'll be finishing with Alabama and moving on to Alaska. And so, yeah, I think that takes care of everything. And thank you all for listening. I will talk to you all in the next episode of Salsidoparanormal. Take care.